Have you ever looked at a map of Central Europe and just dreamed of hitting a bunch of amazing cities by train, but then thought, no way, not on a tight schedule? Well, today, we are taking on that exact challenge. This is a whirlwind journey that sounds crazy ambitious, but it's actually a masterclass in smart travel.
Right? 6 countries, 10 days, and you're relying entirely on the rail network to get you from place to place. It sounds like a logistical nightmare, a puzzle of timetables, tickets, and transfers. Is it an incredible adventure? For sure. But is it actually doable without completely draining your bank account or your energy? Let's find out. Well, the answer isn't just yes. It's a yes that comes with a very specific, very clever plan. This isn't just possible, it can be shockingly efficient, really affordable, and an absolutely unforgettable trip. So in this explainer, we are going to break down the exact strategy to turn this big idea into a real step-by-step plan.
Okay, so what is this big secret? It's a concept that we're calling the Central European Hexagon. It's a route that's been designed from the ground up to use geography and high-speed rail to let you see and do the most in the shortest amount of time.
So here it is, the route itself. You can see it's a really logical loop. We kick things off in Vienna, which is our strategic hub, and then we just hopscotch through Bratislava, Budapest, Prague, Munich, and finally Zurich before looping back. These 6 cities form this perfect, tightly knit corridor, and that's the key to making this intense schedule actually work.
Now, what's so cool about this plan isn't just the order of the cities, but the starting point itself. Honestly, the whole strategy lives or dies based on one single decision: starting the trip in Vienna. We're calling Vienna our logistical anchor, and for 2 really big reasons. First, you just look at a map, it's right in the middle of our hexagon. But the second reason, and this is the big one, is that it's the biggest hub for nightjet trains in the entire EU. And that night train network, that is our secret weapon. We'll see exactly why in just a little bit. And just look at these travel times. Vienna to Bratislava is basically a commute. It's just an hour. Budapest is only 2.5 hours away. Even getting to Prague or Munich is a totally manageable 4 hours. This incredible proximity means we can knock out the first few cities really fast without feeling like we're living on a train. All right, let's talk about money. Specifically, the biggest financial choice you're going to have to make: how you buy your tickets. This is the classic dilemma for anyone traveling Europe by train. And for a trip like this one, getting it right can literally save you hundreds. So you've got 2 main choices. First up is the famous Eurail Global Pass. It's that one single ticket that gives you a certain number of travel days over a couple of months. Its whole selling point is flexibility. On the other hand, you have point-to-point tickets. This is where you just buy a separate ticket for each individual train ride, and you usually do it way in advance.
Okay, let's get into the numbers. A Eurail pass that works for our itinerary runs about $480. But, and this is the catch so many people miss, that price does not include the mandatory seat reservation fees on all the high-speed and night trains we're using. Once you add those in, your total cost suddenly jumps up to an estimated $555. Now let's look at the point-to-point strategy. If you book each leg of this journey a few months ahead of time, you can get these super cheap Spartschiene or saver fares that the train companies offer. So for the entire 6-country trip, your total ticket cost is estimated to be somewhere between just $150 and $250.
I mean, look at that. The difference is just staggering. Going with point-to-point tickets can save you over $300. For a trip this short and this planned out, the math really isn't even close. And here's the fundamental reason why. It boils down to this simple fact: our trip is built on a fixed, pre-planned schedule. The Eurail Pass's #1 feature is flexibility, the freedom to just wake up and decide where to go. But since our plan is all about maximizing efficiency, we don't need that flexibility. We just need the absolute cheapest way to get from point A to point B on a specific day.
So, we've got our route, we've picked our hub city, and we know exactly how we're buying our tickets. Now, let's look at how this all fits together day by day. How does the Hexagon plan actually feel when you're on the ground doing it?
This table gives you the bird's eye view of the whole trip. You'll notice the first couple of legs are super short and easy, but then the train rides start getting longer and longer. And just look at that last leg. From Zurich back to Vienna, a massive 10-hour journey. That's the kind of travel day that could completely derail the whole trip, unless you have a strategy for it. Let's zoom in on one of those challenges. Day 5. The ride from Budapest to Prague is about 7 hours. Now, to make sure you don't lose an entire day just sitting on a train, the plan calls for a really early start. You travel through the morning, but you still get to Prague with a whole afternoon and evening left to explore. It's a long morning for sure, but it's strategic.
But that brings us to the biggest monster of them all, that 10-hour ride from Zurich back to Vienna. How on earth do you deal with that without just writing off your entire last day? Well, this is where the genius of using Vienna as our hub really comes into play.
We solve the problem with this, the Nightjet. These are modern, comfortable sleeper trains run by Austrian railways, and they are designed to do one thing perfectly: let you cover huge distances while you're sound asleep, arriving at your destination fresh in the morning. Just compare the options for that last leg. If you took a day train, you would waste your entire last day traveling, and you'd have to pay for a hotel in Zurich the night before. But the Nightjet? You travel overnight. This saves you a full day for sightseeing in Zurich, and you save the cost of a hotel room because the train is your hotel for the night. It is an absolute game changer. So, look, the Central European Hexagon is a fantastic, super optimized plan. But what's even more important are the core ideas behind it, because you can use these principles to design any European rail adventure you can possibly think of.
So what are the golden rules here? First, always book your tickets way in advance. Second, really ask yourself if you need the flexibility of a rail pass. For a fixed plan, you probably don't. Third, find a well-connected hub city to anchor your trip. Fourth, use night trains to make long distances just disappear while you sleep. And finally, 2 really practical tips for a fast trip like this. Pack light and stay near the train stations. It saves so much time and hassle.
By following these simple rules, a trip that might seem totally impossible suddenly becomes not just possible, but affordable and incredibly efficient. These are the tools you need to build your own perfect journey. So, the only question left is, where is your rail adventure going to take you?